from the low country of South Carolina. This is WCSC-TV Channel 5. And now, Bill Sharpe, Debi Chard, Charlie Hall Weather, and Warren Peper Sports. This is the Live 5 News Hour.
For some of you, it was the time of your life. For others, it was a time you'd like to forget. Or maybe you don't even remember the 70s, a smoky era that started with Watergate and went out with disco.
You and I, of course, don't remember the 70s, but like it or not, the far-out 70s are far in now. And in tonight's cover story, our Bob Knowles takes a look back at the decade that may have you cringing, but it may leave you singing.
What's this? That funky town is yours, and that disco beat is back. Every Friday night at 2 a.m., Charleston's Music Farm takes a break from 90s bands and plays 70s disco. The huge young crowd eats it up and sings it out. They love it the second time around, even if they missed it the first.
I love the 70s. It's so great, yeah.
How come?
Well, because it's like a freedom back then. Nobody can really define it, but it's just there.
Some people might think those songs are silly.
Tom Kennedy kicking off another long stretch of the 70s greatest hits with the Bellamy Brothers on 96.9 WXTC. All 70s, all the time.
The 70s are a commercial success. 2 Charleston radio stations are all 70s, and some are seasoned with 70s rock.
Hello, South Carolina.
Talk about success. 70s supergroup The Eagles played the North Charleston Coliseum Saturday night, drawing a full house at $90 a seat.
You look in her eyes, the music begins.
Still turning sad poetry into sweet songs.
Hopeless romantics, here we go again.
In some way, the Eagles were 70s rock. As for 70s TV,
Brady Bunch.
Brady Bunch, the Brady Bunch.
It's the story of a man named Brady.
America's most perfect 70s family is now in movie theaters and doing big box office. But if we're going to remember them, it's only fair our own 70s memories bubble up to reveal Warren's Boss Sport Coat or Debbie's Groovy Do. Our legal analyst Andy Savage was a 70s New York City cabbie. His bride Cheryl a classic 70s Miss South Carolina. And Bill Sharpe was, well, Bill Sharpe. We know what the younger crowd thinks of the 70s.
Disco music and fun.
The rest of us know it was something more. The 70s had some of our most important events and least important. With that in mind, we can sum this all up by saying goodbye in 2 70s kind of ways. Peace and have a nice day. And who was I in the 70s? Okay, Bob Knowles, Live 5 News.
Well, you look about the same, Bob. So how about you? How did you look in the 70s? Or were you even around in the 70s? Have you thrown away those green leisure suits, your chokers, or your platform shoes? Debbie, you still have some of those.
I'm going to burn those pictures.
What music do you remember? What were your favorite 70s TV shows? We like the Partridge Family. Tonight you can talk back to John Quincy. He's the program director at 104.5 FM WJUK. Talk back about the 70s coming up, unfortunately, in just a few minutes later in the news.
Hardly wait to hear what everybody has to say. It'll be fun. Boy, did we have a nice day, and I hope more are ahead. Charlie's up next with our 5-day forecast.
And still ahead, Live 5 News has learned some new information about a hearing in the Susan Smith murder case.
Was an off-duty highway patrolman speeding when he struck and killed a man over the weekend? It depends on who you talk to. More on that story later in the news hour.
Sports, but first coming up in Talkback, I'm sure many of you have disco fever. Have you heard? There is a new 70s station in town, and whether it's a chance to listen to some disco music or just kind of get another case of rockin' pneumonia and the boogie-woogie flu, you can talk to John Quincy, who's joining us on Talkback. 723-8371. He's the morning DJ for the all-new radio station Jukebox 104.5, and that's just ahead when we come back.
We're going to take a step back in time.
What did the 70s mean to you? I know what they meant to you and me. Gee whiz. Pep, that's the topic, a little nostalgia here on Talkback.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about 70s music, and we have invited from 104.5, the new station, Jukebox. Here's just a sample of music that actually originated during that decade. Yeah. Okay. That's not wide enough. If I try to do the actual motions, I may hit him. But that was one of the songs that had that predictable disco beat that now has been played in many of, actually, you know, they played at the Stingrays games all the time. People get pretty fired up about it. But John, we'll just go to some calls here. As long as they don't bring back those lime green leisure suits, I'll be okay. Let's go to Bill in West Ashley, who's up on Talkback first. Bill, go ahead.
Yes. What I was calling about with the revival of a lot of the 70s bands, such as the Eagles, who recently appeared here.
Yes.
What I was wondering about, a group I met years ago and became good acquaintance with, the CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yeah.
I know that John Fogerty is back in the studio, and Tom, his brother, died 3 years ago in either New Mexico or Phoenix. I'm curious about what has happened to the other members of the band.
Let me see if John knows anything about that band.
One of the members of the band I talked to a few years ago belongs to a country band. I believe it's Southern Pacific, but I'm not for sure. It's one of those new country rock bands. And the other guy that's in the band was playing in sessions at the time. But they were still pretty cheesed off at John Fogerty. They had kind of a disagreement many years ago, so I don't think they'll be getting back together.
All right, back to another call here. Let's talk to Glenn on the air now from Charleston. Glenn, go ahead.
How you doing, Warren? I just wanted to say I remember Mike Hyatt having hair back then, and the most significant thing I remember about was in 1972 during the pullout of Vietnam. I remember seeing the helicopters and stuff coming back when they announced the peace treaty over there.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's amazing what you connect music to, and an awful lot of that kind of music, but maybe more of a subculture music, was very prevalent in the Vietnam era, obviously, in the early 70s.
Oh, the early 70s, yeah. We had lots of anti-war songs that were on the radio. War by Edwin Starr, that was a big one. But then when the Vietnam War ended, we got back to peacetime, and I think the music in the 70s got to be more fun.
Yes.
Less protest and more fun.
All right, back to another call here. Next on the line here, as we talk 70s music, is Jim from Mount Pleasant. Jim, go ahead. You there, Jim? Yeah, speak up. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I heard of disco a little while ago, but in the 70s you had the Capricorn sound. The Allman Brothers, Charlie Daniels, Leonard Skinner, Marshall Tucker, which just about all of those guys have performed right here in Charleston and back at the old county hall,
right?
Which is now the Palace. But
do you
anyway,
still listen to some of that music?
I'm looking at about 600 or 700 albums still. I don't even own a CD.
Okay. Do you have a question per se you want to talk about?
No, just comment for the
just reminiscing.
Good rock and roll, and let's never forget the Stones.
All right, I'll let you get back to your
Southern rock and roll,
LP.
man.
All right, back to another call here. Monique on the air now from Charleston. Go ahead.
I wanted to know, what kind of positive influence does the 70s have on it besides style and music? And also, if he thinks the 70s is coming back, what about the 60s?
Well, the 60s were back in the 80s, right. And in the 70s we talked about the 50s. So I think every 20 years and another 20 years we'll be talking about the 90s, and we'll be looking at the clothes that we're wearing right now and thinking about how strange they are. But the 70s are back. The music is fun, and I think if you forget about the things like the leisure suits and just remember the good times you had back in the 70s when you were didn't have mortgages and didn't have kids to worry about, all those good times of going to school, the 70s are really, there's a lot there to think about and a lot to reminisce about.
I mean, I take enough static on my ties, but your tie tonight,
you like
that derivation of that happy face, that's right out of that decade, isn't it?
And it's 100% polyester, too, and I'm proud of it.
There you go. Nobody light a match. Let's go to another call here real quickly. Richard, go ahead. Calling from Macedonia.
Hi. I would like to ask what brought on the new interest for this 70s music? And number two, what would it do to get you to change your mind and put on something better? And where is Larry Nolan?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. How long have you guys been with this format now?
We've been doing it since November.
Right.
Since November, and the reaction has been incredible. People love it. They think it's great. A lot of the songs we play on WJUK have not been on the radio in 20 years, so it's new to a lot of people that are in their 30s and 40s. It brings back memories of the good times that they had, and then people who are in their teens or 20s, it's new to them, and they say, oh, this is pretty cool stuff.
Less than a minute. Let me get another call on real quickly here with John Quincy. Tommy, go ahead.
Hey, I just want you to know that I grew up during the 70s in my 20s. I'm 43 now.
Yeah,
and
aren't we
I
all?
enjoyed it. And I wish they were back because I enjoyed a lot of different things, programs and all that. And I do enjoy listening to 104.5.
Thank you.
Because it's all 70 music, and I do love the music, and I wish everything would come back.
All right, we're the same age there, and I don't know if I want those days back or not, but I'd like to know now and have those days and know what I know now. Do we have time for one more call, or are we out of time? We're out of time. John, thanks for being with us.
Well,
Good luck to you and with your radio station and your format, and we appreciate those of you able to get through tonight talking about the 70s, those 25 years ago and more. That'll do it. Up next on Carolina Camera, Michael takes a look at a stylish game with a brand new style, and later in the news hour you'll meet tonight's Hall of Fame inductee who's got a way of bringing out the beauty in everyone she meets. Stay with us. Which is where they are now as they wait for yet another week to find out what happens. Sunday is when the selection committee makes its selection.
We will.
All right.
Coming up tonight on Hard Copy, it is the exclusive interview you don't want to miss. Ron Hardy, one of Nicole Brown Simpson's most trusted confidants, shares his personal memories of the slain beauty for the first time.
He also talks about the signs of abuse that he observed. Hard Copy airs tonight at 7:30 right here on Channel 5.
And tonight at 11 on Night Watch, their heart was set on a cute little homeless puppy living at the SPCA. But why can't they have that puppy tonight? Well, the reason may surprise you.
And a woman gets mauled to death in a lion's cage. What the heck happened there? We'll have more on Night Watch at 11 o'clock. You don't want to miss that here on Channel 5. Charlie, rain is on the way again?
Well, tomorrow morning fog, afternoon warm as we had today, and by nightfall some showers.
Okay, that's our news for tonight. For Charlie and for Warren, I'm Bill Sharpe.
And I'm Debi Chard. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to the CBS Evening News coming up next. Good night.
Be a part of the Quintex Live 5 News Network. When you see news happening, press star 55 on your Quintex car phone and be connected to the Live 5 newsroom. Live 5 News, your 24-hour news source.